Hello. I wanted to give you an update. I apologize I was not able to get anything together last week. And I also want to make sure that I'm explaining, as a caregiver, helping take care of my mom who is going through peritoneal cancer diagnosis. My intention is not to at all put any fear or scare anybody. I just think that it could be a service to somebody that might be facing the same thing themselves, or perhaps you have somebody in your life that you're helping and you'd just like to know a little bit more information before everything gets started. So, quick recap. My mom was first diagnosed in 2020. She was on a combination chemo that lasted about, I think it was about 6 months. Then she had a hysterectomy and then finished up chemo and was pretty much in remission by the end December in 2020. Lived the next 4 years very without incident, pretty much. And then February of 2024, it looked like the cancer markers were on the rise again. So that was concerning enough to go back into the oncologist, which we did have to switch because the other one had moved out of state. And so we went with a new oncologist who we did have some familiarity with. And so starting in March of 2024, she started a different type of chemo. This one was called Taxol, and it's known to be red. And they said that, if she were to cry, or sometimes some people have, I was teasing her about having vampire tears. That didn't happen, but the bag is definitely distinct. You can tell when that medication is on. And did that for 6 months. Unfortunately, that whole experience was 6 months of not feeling good and getting through the treatments. I think the thing that threw her the most on that particular one was they gave her something called Neulasta, which helps stimulate the bone marrow and keep her immune system up. However, being older, having some past injuries really stirred up those injuries, and a knee and a fall that she had had on her back. Those were the hardest parts of that. And then she'd get through those 5 days or so. There was only supposed to be 2 or 3. And then, by the next time she had chemo, which was every month, every 4 weeks, she would start feeling better. However, her marker for the type of cancer she had started here, and then it went down, and then it started going back up. And really, by the time she was done with that, it was like she didn't do it at all. So they were going to try to give her through the end of 24, through the holiday season, without any type of medication. However, the cancer marker was rising again, and they did find out some results from a couple of tests they were sending out to see if she might be available, not available, but be if her tissue would accept a couple of new immunotherapies. One of them it did not, the other one it did. And that is where this Enhertu comes in. So again, there's a lot of great things about the way medicine is moving forward. It targets the cancer and shrinks it, which it did look like it was doing. However, and again, we have to take into consideration that it could be more her age, or the fall that she had that hurt her neck, was maybe influencing things. I'm not sure. However, with each dose, even though the cancer markers were going down, her health was not, it was not good. Then they take a baseline, I guess, of heart and lungs before they even start, make sure that your body's going to be able to accept this medication. So those looked good enough for her to start in December. So 2 weeks ago, no, it's been about a month now, really was having, like, from bad fatigue to, like, I don't even know if we're going to be able to get you off of the couch to get dressed to go to your infusion or your doctor's appointment or your blood drawing, weekly blood drawing. I mean, it really was concerning. And so then they did the follow-up CT scan of her lungs just to make sure everything was looking good there. And that's when we found out that no, it's not looking good. There's something called interstitial lung disease, which, from my understanding, and again, I'm not in the medical profession, I'm just trying to learn as I go. And there was something that looks like broken glass in the lungs. And so that put a hard stop on the Enhertu. It's not waiting to see if this gets better and then go back on it. It's like, no, no more. She had had 4 doses. So unfortunately is at this point upset, understandably, that something she did not have an issue with before is now an issue. They put her on a strong dose of prednisone. I believe it's like 60 milligrams, which I think is about the strongest you can do. And it'll be from 4 to 6 weeks. We have another CT scan coming up at the end of this week. So the now new pulmonologist that we've never had to talk to before will be looking at that, getting the image, and then seeing how we can step down that prednisone dosage. And if you've never had to take prednisone, while it is a strong steroid and, it's to bring down the inflammation in her lungs, boy, it's tough on a lot of your other things, like mentally. Pretty much the oncologist said, well, here's what's going to happen when you take it. Your face is going to get puffy, you're going to gain weight, and you're going to have some mood swings. That's not what you want to hear when you're already feeling bad. However, she said this, you have to do the prednisone. Otherwise, it's just going to be more damaging to the lungs. So once again, I am not trying to be negative Nelly. I'm not trying to tell you, not to do it or anything like that. I'm just letting you know what the journey here has been. And I feel like the more information you have, and it could only happen to, I have no idea what the statistics are of how many people develop something like this. However, it is upsetting to watch too, where this woman, part of her knowing that she needs to calm down about something or is getting upset by something, the breath is definitely taking a deep measured breath was one way she knew she could bring everything down and feel good. And now she doesn't have that breath to do that with, or at least not to the same capacity. So I'll take one for her right now. I feel that we are talking to the right people right now, the pulmonologist. We also have an appointment here in about another 30 minutes with a pain doctor to work on that place where she had fallen. It's a different subject. However, it's still her body and it's still affecting her. And I can understand why people that have day-to-day pain, why you would feel down and grumpy. And so if there's a way that we can help neutralize some of that pain or have it go away for her, that would at least give her a little bit more of a boost to continue with all the lung stuff going on. So, we are whole beings, and you can't just look at one individual thing and fix that. It's like we have to take everything into one. So there's a lot, and I understand if you are feeling frustrated. I hear you. I see you. I think one thing I would like to do, which would be separate than these updates, is some type of caregiver. I don't even know the best way to say it, but different tools for you to use to calm you down. Because sometimes you have to be that rock. You have to be the strong one for the loved one that you're helping. And when they fall apart and then they get themselves back together, then you may need to go fall apart separately somewhere else. So I think I'm going to move into a series of doing that. If you have any interest in joining me on that, let me know what types of things you would want. I specialize with my yoga and my shamanic energy training. I think pranayama, the breath work, is probably the most helpful and the most, there's so many ones that we can do for different parts of our day, parts of our life that are meaningful. Some of them we want us to calm down. Sometimes we need it to get the energy up because we're just so bogged down and tired that we need to find a way to like perk our energy back up. So if that sounds good to you, or actually some movement, some like gentle yoga, here's a couple of movements you can do to bring down your calmness or stability, inner peace. If you have some interest in that, please comment. You can reach out for me, and I would be happy to customize it, or just in general, so we can all, because when we're in our good, safe space and feeling strong, then we are much more able to help our loved ones and keep them strong and know that they're loved and cared for. All right, kind of a heavy one today, but thinking of you and blessings being sent your way.